mindful movement practice to kind of think about coming out of winter or resting or hibernation, and starting with a nicely steady seated posture. So you may want to take a moment to really kind of tune into how you're sitting again. Maybe you're sitting on a chair or the floor, and you can sense hopefully your connection to the ground in different ways, through the furniture or through the soles of your feet, bringing your attention downwards. And taking a few breaths, focusing on the sensation of the breath in the belly. And perhaps you can have a felt or imagined sense of the out breath reaching all the way down to the bottom, the floor, the base of the pelvis. So as we inhale, the diaphragm, which is about here, between the abdominal cavity and the lungs, chest cavity. As we inhale, that moves down. And the whole of the contents of the abdomen press down on the ground floor, as it were, the pelvic floor, which some people liken to a second diaphragm. It's kind of this container of the belly between the diaphragm and the pelvic floor. And as we inhale, we can tune into this downward movement, feeling the breath really low down in the torso. And if it's hard to feel that, perhaps we can kind of imagine it in our mind. You can also take your gaze down towards the floor. Being aware of the earth, where everything still perhaps feels really asleep. Everything has gone down to the ground. Winter time. And then you could place your palms face down on your thighs, your knees, and moving your hands backwards and forwards, or you could massage around your knees, feeling your legs underneath your hands. Noticing the sensation of touch. Maybe your hands feel warm through the layers of clothes. Maybe your legs feel warm. If there's coolness or cold sensations, perhaps this rubbing, this massaging will warm things up a little bit. You can also let your hands go past your knees if you can reach down towards your feet, feeling the bone structures as well, of the shins, the kneecaps, the ankles. Becoming aware of our legs. with these movements, we're also going slightly forwards and backwards, to a forward bend, to back up, beginning to move our spine. And then coming back up to upright sitting. And interlacing our fingers and stretching our arms up. So checking in with your shoulders. It might be nice to keep your elbows a little bit bent. It might feel nice to straighten your arms more. See how it feels. And then taking a little swaying movement from side to side. A bit like a tree swaying in the wind. And then bringing the palms down to chest level and stretching the palms away. And then back in, and then changing the interlace so your opposite thumb is on top. Relaxing the shoulders for a moment before bringing them back up. Feeling your sitting bones on your seat, your feet on the ground, so still rooted. Taking a gentle stretch from side to side. More like a swaying than a stretch. 2 or 3 times. Always do less. And then coming back down to the level of the chest, heart level, stretching the arms forwards, and then releasing the wrists, giving the shoulders a little bit of a shake out. And then placing the hands on the knees again and the feet a little bit wider apart. See how you are. Maybe if you're sitting cross-legged, you might not need to, but creating a nice sense of a wide base. And then letting the upper body rotate. You can always do smaller or bigger circles than I'm doing. And the idea is to keep this awareness of your base, of your buttocks on your seat. And you can probably feel some shifting is going on from one sitting bone to the other, especially if you're on quite a hard chair. And finding a circling, a size circle that hopefully feels quite comfortable. So if you're a bit stiff, you can simply make it smaller. If you've got any back issues, making it smaller can help. You can also play with the size circles, so it'll feel maybe a bit more calming to do small circles to stay close to your sense of a center, to the movement. Maybe a bit more energizing to go bigger. And then making the circles smaller to come back to this felt sense of a center. And then going the other way. And again, you might start small, or you might start big and then go smaller. Keeping in touch with your base, awareness of your base. And then making the circle smaller again to return to awareness of there being a center to this movement. center to this circle where you are. And then placing the hands on the shoulders. You might have your elbows a bit lower, see how it feels. Higher might give you a bit more kind of breathing space there. And then moving from side to side, and again this could just be a really small movement, or it could be bigger. So we're waking up the spine in different ways. Turning, side bending, forward bending. And then coming back to the center. And then interlacing the hands again. And if it's comfortable, taking your hands behind your head and lifting the chest, kind of looking up. If you've got a back to your chair, you could even kind of lean over that. Relaxing back, and then coming back, releasing the hands, interlacing with the other thumb on top. Again, a really gentle back bendy stretch, maybe releasing back over your seat if you can, if you've got a seat where you can do that. And then coming back down, hands on the knees. Just turn around for this one. And then having a little forward bend here, contracting from the belly, contracting backwards. Feeling a little core strength here. And then coming back to upright. And then we can kind of sway forwards and backwards, maybe with your hands on your knees, on your thighs. So you can press down through your thighs a little, feeling your feet on the ground. And you might need to shift your feet again to a natural position from which you could possibly start to push up if you're on a chair to standing. If you're sitting cross-legged, you can obviously come up a different way if you're on the floor. You can do a few of these movements with this idea of going forwards to go up. Forwards to go up. And some people might even be able to stand up from cross-legged. They're doing this kind of thing and standing up. It's quite tricky, but you might. Coming to standing. So there's a sense with that movement of preparing to come up, preparing to stand up. And so that it's actually a bit easier, a bit lighter to come to standing. And then we can feel the whole of our body weight onto our feet. Feeling the feet on the ground. Just shuffle about a little bit again till we feel, oh, this is a really good place for my feet to be a good distance apart. Feeling grounded in the sense of a good connection to the earth. Noticing your whole body in standing. A soft, relaxed gaze out into the world. You can make a gesture like this if you like, so Kind of inviting the eyes to go into peripheral vision by looking from the corners of your eyes to your hands, and then bringing your hands down by your side and gently press down. So it doesn't need to be hard, but a sense of pressing down to engage a little bit of core strength coming up from that pelvic floor towards the diaphragm, muscular contraction in the lower belly. Feeling strength in our standing, and then relaxing the hands and bending the knees into a mini squat. And then pressing down again through the palms of the hands, straightening the knees, standing a little bit taller, and then bending the knees a little bit, relaxing the wrists. Going down, back down towards the ground a little. Doing this a couple more times, and there might be almost a sense of being a bit like a meerkat. If you've seen them, I've seen them in an animal park in the summer actually. And they've got that curiosity. So are you ready to kind of come up into spring, like some of the bulbs in my pots in the garden are coming up? You're ready to take a look around. And then every now and again we might want to hunker back down. Early evenings, dark, still quite early, and we might want to hunker down again, back down to the ground, and then maybe on a nice sunny day, oh yeah, it is nearly spring. Noticing those signs of spring. Doing a little bit of that. Looking around, standing tall, and then releasing down. And then we can bring a similar sentiment, we can shake this off for a moment, into our walking meditation. So we could start with a very slow, mindful walking where we're very focused on the soles of the feet and on our balance. Almost imagining maybe that the feet are sinking down into soft sand or mud. Maybe you've got a nice soft carpet that you're sinking into, or a rug. My slippers have quite soft soles, so I'm kind of sinking into them. Being aware of the downward movement of the feet, and perhaps I'm sort of naturally doing it with my hands, also pressing down through the hands with each step. And then we can stop again somewhere in the space wherever you are now. And feeling the length of our body from the feet to the crown. Looking up for a moment. Looking around, a little bit more orientated up. This would be a lovely one to do outside as well, to walk on grass in a field or the park or wherever, and then or the beach, doing the ground and then the sky. And then walking around maybe a little bit more of a normal pace. You've got enough room in your space to speed up. And looking around your room more, looking up. It might affect your balance slightly in a different way from the slow walking, so having a play with that. Maybe imagining or bringing, if you can, a bit more of a spring into your step. Using the balls of your feet a bit more. Imagining your body as light, and maybe the way you sometimes see children walk, they're almost skipping. Bringing that idea into your walking. And either one of these ways of walking might feel more familiar to you. Maybe something that feels unfamiliar and longed for. Might be a longing to slow down, be more grounded. There might be a longing to speed up and kind of be lighter. And then coming to a stop again, standing still. It might be helpful to close your eyes for a moment, to feel into your body. To notice how you are again, how you might like to be. Is there a sense in you of needing a bit more wintry rest, more slowness, or a readiness to pop your head above the ground and get a spring in your step? And having these two simple tools, the way that we're walking to hand, to bring into your life, to embody either of those two kind of states.